We've all seen it. The Oscar-worthy performance in the middle of the grocery store. The perfectly timed stomachache that only appears right before a math test. The subtle way your child tells you, Daddy said it was okay, when they know for a fact Daddy said no. It feels like you're being played. It feels like you're living with a tiny, 4-foot-tall Machiavelli who is 3 steps ahead of you at all times. As parents, our first instinct is often anger. We think, how can they be so calculated? Where did they learn to be so manipulative? But here at Baby's Mind Secrets, we look past the behavior and into the biology. The truth? A manipulative child isn't born bad. In fact, in the world of developmental psychology, manipulation is often the symptom of an ignored childhood. It is a sophisticated, albeit exhausting, survival mechanism developed by a brain that has learned that being direct simply doesn't work. Today, we are peeling back the curtain on the manipulation loop. We're going to explain why children who feel ignored become master puppeteers, why your neglect, even if unintentional, created a strategic genius, and exactly how to handle this behavior without breaking their spirit. Let's decode the secret language of the manipulative child. 1. The birth of the strategic survivalist. To fix manipulation, we have to understand its origin. Every child has basic core needs: attention, safety, and connection. In a secure attachment environment, when a child needs attention, they ask for it. They cry, they tug on your sleeve, or they say, "Look at me." And if the parent responds, the child learns, direct communication works. I don't need to be tricky to be seen. But what happens in an ignored childhood? Now, ignored doesn't always mean abandoned. It can be a parent who is physically there, but emotionally distracted by work, phones, or their own stress. If a child tries to be direct and gets no response, if they are quiet and good and get ignored because of it, their brain begins to hunt for a workaround. The discovery of the glitches. The child's brain is a pattern recognition machine. They notice that when they are good, they are invisible. But when they accidentally break something, attention. When they tell a small lie that makes mom look at them, attention. Manipulation is what happens when a child decides that indirect connection is better than no connection. They start to realize that if they can't get you to notice them through love, they can get you to notice them through control. They become strategic survivalists. They learn to push your buttons, not because they want to hurt you, but because they are desperately trying to feel seen in a house where they feel like background noise. 2. Decoding the puppet master tactics. So, what does this look like in the real world? Manipulative children usually fall into 3 psychological profiles. 1. The guilt tripper. This child uses your own emotions against you. You always work. You never have time for me. They have learned that your guilt is a fast track to getting their way. By making you feel like a bad parent, they bypass your boundaries. 2. The divider, also known as triangulation. This is the child who tells mom that dad said yes and tells dad that mom said no. They create chaos between the adults because when the parents are busy arguing with each other, the child is the one in control. 3. The victim. This child uses feigned weakness or illness. They've learned that being helpless triggers your protective instinct. If they are sick or scared, you have to stop what you're doing and focus on them. The psychological payoff. In all of these scenarios, the payoff isn't actually the toy or the cookie they're asking for. The real payoff is the power dynamics. For a child who has felt ignored, power is the only thing that feels like safety. If I can control you, I know where you are. If I can control you, you can't ignore me. We're about to get into the 4 steps to handle this behavior, including the attention audit. But first, Let's have a zoned-out parent moment. If you have ever realized halfway through an argument with your 7-year-old that they have somehow convinced you to apologize to them for their mess, you are in the right place. Welcome to the My Kid is Smarter Than the FBI support group. If you're tired of being outmaneuvered by someone who still thinks boogers are a food group, hit that subscribe button. At Baby's Mind Secrets, we give you the psychological cheat codes to level the playing field. Give this video a like if you've ever suspected your child has a secret degree in negotiation. And tell us in the comments, what is the most mastermind thing your child has ever done to get their way? Let's share the puppet master stories in the comments. 3. The mirror effect. Whose strategy is it? This is the hard part of the video. As an expert scriptwriter in the world of psychology, I have to be candid. Children mirror the world they live in. Sometimes a child becomes manipulative because they are mirroring parental manipulation. Do we use if-then threats to get them to behave? Do we use the silent treatment when we're mad at our spouse? Do we use guilt to get them to finish their dinner? If a child sees that indirect methods are how people get what they want in this family, they will adopt those methods as their own native language. The cycle of neglect. When a parent ignores a child's emotional distress because they are too busy, the child doesn't think, "Mom is busy." The child thinks, "My feelings don't matter." To a child, having no impact on their world is a form of existential terror. They must have an impact. If they can't have a positive impact, being praised for being good, they will settle for a negative impact, being yelled at for being manipulative. To a starving brain, a junk food interaction is better than starving to death in the silence. 4. How to handle the behavior, the action plan. So how do we stop the puppet master without becoming a dictator? Here are the 4 steps to handle and heal manipulative behavior. Step 1. The attention audit. You have to break the ignore manipulation loop at the source. This means giving radical attention when they are not being manipulative. Psychologists call this time in. Spend 15 minutes a day of special time where the child leads the play and you are 100% present. If you fill their attention tank with high-quality, direct connection, they will feel less of a biological need to hunt for it through manipulation. Step 2. Call out the game, not the child. When you see the manipulation happening, don't get angry. Get curious. I notice that you're telling me Dad said yes. It feels like you're trying to find a way to get what you want because you're worried I'll say no. You don't have to be tricky with me. You can just ask. By labeling the strategy, you make the invisible visible. You're telling the brain, this trick doesn't work here, but directness does. Step 3. Natural consequences, not power struggles. A manipulative child thrives on the power struggle. They want the big reaction. Don't give it to them. If they lied to get out of trouble, the consequence isn't a shouting match. The consequence is that they now have to spend time making amends for the lie. Keep your voice calm and boring. If the manipulation game results in a boring consequence instead of an exciting argument, the brain will eventually stop using the strategy. Step 4. Reward direct communication. This is the most important step. Every single time your child says, "I'm sad," or "I want to play," or even "I'm frustrated that you're working," drop everything for 30 seconds. Validate the directness. "Thank you for telling me how you feel. I hear you." You are training their brain that directness equals sign results. You are teaching them that they are seen without having to pull a single string. At the end of the day, a manipulative child is often just a child who is trying to find their place in a world that feels too quiet. They aren't bad. They are just using the only tools they think they have to get the one thing every human needs: connection. When you stop ignoring the childhood and start seeing the child, flaws, strategies, and all, the manipulation begins to fade. It's replaced by a secure attachment, where they no longer have to be a mastermind, to be a beloved son or daughter. What's next? To understand what happens when that survival instinct turns into refusing to eat, watch our video on the psychology of babies refusing food, right here. Thanks for watching Baby's Mind Secrets. Stop playing the game, start building the bond, and we'll see you in the next one.